Indentured servants a long time ago would come to America for the opportunity to succeed, and they would get here and they would be enslaved for the rest of their lives. I do believe that big tech oligarchs and AI are going to find cures to diseases and then use them to create a new age of indentured servants that are beholden to big tech and these oligarchs and AI, and you're just going to spend the rest of your life working off the cure to cancer for your kid. Like, that's how I feel. Speaking of the UHC guy, apparently he was a Republican. I didn't know this, so we're going to watch this video because Owen's going to explain it to me. I wasn't fully aware of... I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. For the first time in a long time, finding out that a shooter is a Republican both makes sense, and I'm okay with it. Still support him. Doesn't matter. Don't care. This fucker could come out with a history of voting for Trump, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm still would high five him. I'll still put money on his books in prison. Okay. Don't care. Willing. This guy gets a pass.
The CEO of United Healthcare, health insurance company or something like that, was shot in Manhattan. It was super sudden, out of nowhere.
Exactly, Perry. That's what I'm saying.
Pulls a trigger. It's like, wow. Now the right is trying to make this a right versus left thing, when in reality it's a rich thing versus people who don't have enough money to pay for health insurance.
Everybody else. Literally everybody else.
It's a rich versus poor thing. Jesse Waters, if you guys are familiar with him, he's like a Fox News. I think he's like the primetime host on Fox News. He had some things to say on his show about it. He did this whole segment on it. Listen.
Jesse Waters is budget Tucker Carlson. Let's just be honest. That was his job, right? He was hired to replace Tucker Carlson.
What he said on his show about
not hired, but he's
United Health CEO.
Thompson leaves behind a wife and 2 kids, but that didn't stop some people from appearing to praise his death online just hours after Thompson was gunned down.
Yeah, this is my favorite part about this. If this guy's a Republican, it's like my favorite fucking part, because they want you to hate the dude because, for the most part, conservatives always represent rich people's interests, right? So Fox News, it would create such a conundrum for Fox News, because generally, if the person is conservative, Fox News takes their side regardless of what's going on, because they want to be able to twist it in some way to be like, well, yeah, the conservatives are angry because of these things, and therefore this is why it's right. But they've already came out before they knew his political leanings or whatever, and have already expressed to their corporate overlords that, hey, we support you, and we definitely don't support this guy. It would create such a conundrum for Fox News. Like, I don't just believe that Luigi could be a Republican. I want him to be one. I want him to be a Republican just so it fucks with these people. So they don't know what to do. They don't know how to spin the story. Okay? But here it is. I'll just go ahead and tell you this, guys, right now. This is once again something the left falls for. They think that if he comes out and it's like he voted Trump, fucking Bush, like every Republican for the last decade, the left thinks, oh, well, the right will have to like actually own up to it. No, they won't. They'll just act like it doesn't exist. And that's what I'm saying. The difference between the left and the right now is insane. The right will just like, if he's a Republican, it doesn't matter if he voted fucking down ballot red for the last decade. They'll just act like they don't know that. Nope. No idea. And the left, if the fucking guy was a Democrat, would be like, we have to really be better than this. Look, I know Democrats are upset. I get it. But we have to be better than this. Like, they would flagellate so much over it. And fucking Fox News will just pull their best Trump impression and just act like they had no idea. No idea.
Former Washington Post reporter.
Look, I don't revel in anyone's death. I don't want anyone to die. But I'm not going to cry when I read your obituary. This guy did some really bad things. he made
Yeah,
society
it's very,
substantially worse.
very,
and I'll talk about it in a
very
second.
sensitive topic here in
Just
America.
keep listening
healthcare.
here.
Taylor Lorenz appeared to celebrate the murder of the United Healthcare CEO on social media. She shared this post.
I don't think anyone is celebrating.
Yeah, and yes, thank you, Owen. This is the thing. Nobody is celebrating it. What they're saying is they don't have any sympathy for the guy. This is like, once again, this is the mind fuck of the media. The mind fuck of the media is they have to spin it that people are celebrating it because the lack of sympathy is actually much, it speaks volumes, right? It's much more important. Because if people were celebrating it, then you could understand, oh, like society is degrading, people are celebrating, people going out and murdering other people. So they have to spin it as though people are celebrating it, because if the actual truth of the situation is that it's not being celebrated, there's just a lack of sympathy for the victim in this case, then you have to ask, well, why? Why is there a lack of sympathy? Oh, well, it turns out that this guy was bringing in billions of dollars in profits for shareholders by denying healthcare to people. That he was part of a company that was denying 1/3 of all of the claims in network, not even out of network, in network. Like, then you have to actually answer the real question of why people are so upset that they would not feel any sympathy for somebody being murdered. That's what they want to twist you away from. They want you to be sitting there saying to yourself, oh, all these people are demented because they're celebrating this. They're not celebrating. They don't have sympathy for the guy. There's a difference.
His death. There are not many people, but they're like, maybe people will learn a lesson from this, that you're pushing us to a certain point where
Probably wasn't an
things are
organ
going to get
donor
real
either.
ugly.
Doubt it.
I don't want that.
What's up, Tia?
I don't want to have to pay $2,000 a month in health insurance.
Exactly, Sean.
Post about an insurance company on Blue Sky and wrote,
Couple
quote,
people have the
"And
right to
people
celebrate,
wonder why
Chris.
we want these
Couple people
executives
do.
dead."
Yeah,
But that's
I
the
don't
other side of
want
it, right?
anybody dead. I want people to get a message. Like,
Yeah. So there you go. So here's the problem with this. If us talking, if us speaking out, if people like Chris are telling their story, I mean, how many people? I had a guy in my comments the other day that was talking about how he had a spiral fracture of his leg that literally was so busted up, and they never helped him out. And then when they finally decided to help him out, it had already healed wrong, so they had to break it again. And then he got addicted to painkillers, and the fucking story is horrendous, right? If you listen to people's stories and you change the things that you did, then people wouldn't be celebrating this happening or having a lack of sympathy for this person and having it happen to them. Instead, if you listen to people's words before it came to a point where they took actions, then you wouldn't have this happening. If people were going out of their way to help everyday people that have medical issues, that need help, that are being denied that help, if you were just not allowing that to happen, you wouldn't have this happening. But what people are doing is people are speaking out and showing their anger through this happening. They didn't do it. They didn't go and take this guy's life, but they are going to use it as a time to stand up and say, hey, you know what? I understand why a motherfucker would be that mad. I'm that mad. But I just haven't done something like what that man did. And to be honest with you, you should be lucky that some of these people have it. Because for some of these people, people don't realize not everybody's religious. Not everybody believes in going to heaven. Not everybody believes that they're going to get another chance at life. For some people, this is their only fucking go. This is their one turn on the planet. And they're just going to get completely fucked over and live in pain the whole rest of the one time they get, because you don't think they deserve to get the care. Every human being deserves health care. Every human being. You can't convince me anything different. Not a
This
single
can
chance.
only last so long. It can only go on for so long before everybody in the country is destitute. Is that like what people are shooting for? I don't know. I don't understand why the
the
healthcare
anesthesia
system,
shit,
the healthcare
Sleepy.
companies and the CEOs continue to charge us out the wazoo like this. I
Medicare
pay
for all.
thousands
Thank you, Liz.
a month for health insurance for 3 people, me, my wife, my kid, and they cover nothing.
Yep.
I still pay for all of my medicine, all of my doctor's
Yep.
visits,
'Cause
all
the
of my
deductible's too
everything.
high. Yep.
They don't pay for anything. Why am I giving them that money? I don't have that to give them. They are ripping people off. Insurance is a scam. All insurance is a scam. If
That's
something
crazy, Tia.
requires
My wife was awake
insurance,
during her
it
cesarean.
should be controlled by the government.
I was actually
we should
sitting
pay
next to
into
her.
it,
It was
through
insane.
the government, and the government should pay out the claims. Because it shouldn't be based on. It shouldn't have a profit motive in it. Like if you need car
Exactly.
insurance, there shouldn't be a profit motive at all, and there certainly shouldn't be health insurance ever. In my opinion, erase health insurance completely. Close United Healthcare, whatever it
Yes.
is. Close its doors.
And they know, here's the thing is, everything in America is built on consumerism and on profit. That is what capitalism is. If you take capitalism and you just look at it through an analytical lens, a non-biased lens, it produces the most economic progression out of any government system, hands down. But the reason that it's able to do that is because it creates a populace of mindless consumers they don't question anything. They realize that, like, if they don't spend money, then they're not getting the stuff that they want, and they want ever more and more and more and more and more stuff. That, if you take it on the most basic of outlooks, if you're looking at it as buying like TVs or subscribing to Netflix or any of the like most basic like entertainment amenities or comfort amenities, it's understandable, right? Like, okay, so you're driving the economy by purchasing things for your own comfort or entertainment. That's a good thing. But the problem with capitalism is when you start looking at the other portions of it that should not be for profit, i.e. prisons. So you have young, marginalized people that have no voice. Because if you put rich white people in jail, you hear all about it, right? If you put rich white people's kids in jail, you hear all about it. But if you put a bunch of people from the ghetto in jail, no one hears about it because they don't have a voice. So you can put these young men and women into prison, use them for slave labor, okay? You can use them to profit off of the system, to profit off the government. So there should be no profit in putting people in prisons. Prison should be a last effort to change a person's life path, which I don't believe it even does, but like last chance. Or it should be to keep people that are not capable of existing in society. That way they're not causing harm to people that just want to live their life. That's what prison should be for. It shouldn't be for fucking an eighth of weed. It shouldn't be for mental illness or mental health problems. Those should be handled in a completely different facility. And mental health care shouldn't be for profit. You shouldn't be being incentivized to put money into medicines to cure mental illness. The reason that you should want to cure mental illness is to help people get better, to create a better, more beneficial society for everybody to live in. Hospitals should not be for profit, because when you walk through the fucking door and you have pain in your leg, the person that is sitting there that you are talking to shouldn't be thinking to themselves, oh man, I need to get to this next patient that has something that we can profit off of because I have people over the top of me that want money from me, shareholders, managers, CEOs that need me to make money. Instead, they should be sitting there going, why do you have pain in your leg? I care. I want to figure it out. They shouldn't immediately go to, oh, you know what I should do? Get this fucker hooked on OxyContin. That'd make me a lot of money. That should never go through their mind. I was talking to a young woman at a store the other day, and she said it was her last week. And I was going to make a big purchase while I was there. And so I said, I'm not sure that I want to buy this yet, but do you make commission off of these products? And she was like, actually, no, I don't. She goes, but to tell you the truth, I'm glad I don't make commission off these things because it allows me to speak honestly about these products and get you the best possible product that you could want. That's the way everybody's mentality should be. It shouldn't be, we're going to make money off of this person's misery or prolonging their misery. It should be, I want to help you get the best possible healthcare possible because I like being here and doing this job and helping people. That's what it's supposed to be. And I ended up not making that purchase that day because I said, oh, cool, I'll think, great. Then I'll just go home and I'll think about it. But it was great, her honesty, that like, no, don't worry about it. Like, I'm here to like just help you out and find the thing that you need, the thing that's going to make you happy. And you can expect that from people on your own level, but it seems like we can never expect that from the people above us. And that's why we don't have any empathy when bad things happen to them, because they don't have any empathy for when bad things happen to us. It's a two-way fucking street.
And set up a single insurance company, one that's controlled by the government that we all pay into.
Shut up, Attic.
And they all pay out the claims.
Dead. Now, Lorenz did an interview with TMZ trying to walk back that statement, but you can understand why people were clearly disturbed by her initial post there on social media. Meantime,
okay, who was disturbed by this post? I mean, it seems to me she's just drawing attention to the fact that people are like literally dying right now.
The search for whoever killed the CEO is still underway. Jesse?
Anyway, yeah. Again, I don't revel in anyone's death. I don't want anyone dead. I'm not going to celebrate anyone's death. The guy had a family. We'll give him that. But I'm not going to cry when I read his obituary. Do you know how many people have died because of what he has done? Countless numbers of people. Again, we'll get to denied claims in a second. First, let's listen to this.
We've gotten to a point where healthcare is so inaccessible and unaffordable, people are justified in their frustration.
So the media's okay with murder?
Healthcare costs.
Once again, and I heard somebody say this, I think it's Kyle Kalinske talking about Elizabeth Warren, that people were giving Elizabeth Warren shit for the way that she talked about it. And she literally says, like, there is never a time where physical violence is acceptable, and I don't like what happened, but you also have to understand that people are very upset about the current state of healthcare, and people are like, she's justifying the murder. We can't be this stupid, guys. As citizens, if you don't recognize that our news media, the mainstream news media, is a mouthpiece for corporations, for billionaires, for rich politicians, I don't know how to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Because they're clearly saying, we do not believe that what happened was a good thing, but at the same time, you do have to understand why people are justified in being upset about the healthcare system. And the very next words out of the news media is, the news media seems to be thinking that like killing CEOs is okay. If you aren't caught up with the fact that they're doing that on purpose to you, that they want you to do the heavy lifting for them, they want you to be upset with your other citizens, the people that are on the same level as you. They want you to be upset with them, okay? And they want you to be defending the top. They want you to defend the billionaires. They want you to defend the corporation. You are their human shield to keep the criticism of the people on the same level as you away from corporations, away from billionaires, away from rich CEOs. Like, that's what they're doing to you. They're creating a human shield out of you when you defend the CEOs and shit against the people that are on the same level as you. Like, we got to stop. People got to stop.
This is Jesse Waters' classic propaganda right here.
Are too damn high.
Look, healthcare costs are too high. It's not about that. It is literally like, I can either have food or I can have health insurance. So I'm going to sit outside of a hospital bleeding out and dying because I couldn't afford healthcare. I'm going to go bankrupt, financial ruin, because I broke my arm. That's what we're dealing with.
There's that story of the lady that said her mom was passing away from cancer, and she was in hospice, but she was a ways out. Maybe not hospice. So what is it, like convalescent home or whatever it is? Because hospice is end of life, right? And the dad was still alive, the mom was still alive, and then they had kids, and the daughter was the one I was talking about. And she was saying that her mom was so sick that she had to be homed, and the dad would come and see the mom, and the mom would beg the dad to let her die. Not because she was close to death, she still had a ways to go, but because she knew every day that she was in that home, it was draining the bank account of the father, and she wanted him to be able to live after she died. Like, that is fucking sad. To think that this man is stuck in this place where he knows he's using every last dollar. That's potential, money to put kids through college. That's potential money to invest in the future of his children, to pass on inheritance for them. And he's going to see his wife, who is begging for him to help her die. Not because she has no life left to live, but because the healthcare system is draining every last dollar from their account. And when she knows she finally dies, she'll be leaving him and her children with none of the money she worked her entire fucking life for. Do you think rich people ever have to worry about that? Do you think a person with $300 million in their bank account, do you think fucking Thompson there, the CEO of United Healthcare, ever has to worry about his wife or him being in a convalescent home and it draining every dollar out of his account and leaving his kids with nothing or his wife with nothing? Of course fucking not. He's got more money than fucking God. The healthcare system ain't gonna run him into the ground. It's gonna run you into the ground, and you're out here fucking defending these people. That's insane. This is the same shit I've been talking about on this channel in a different lane since I started. It is that people continually vote against their own interests, and people continually vote to have things that would better their lives taken away from them, all because they're afraid that corporations will take the ball and go home. Let them. Let them. They'll figure it out. They can't survive without you.
Right now. It's not like, people that are listening to this, or people who are writing it more specifically, like Jesse Waters and his writers, they're sitting there thinking, well, I have costs I don't want to pay too. Like, I don't want to pay taxes. I have a lot of money that I could invest in this, this company or this real estate or whatever, if I didn't have to pay back into society like everybody else. So I don't want to pay this, but I have to. They should have to pay things they don't want to pay for too. That's not what's happening. It's a completely different situation. This isn't money that I can live without. I can't live without the money that's going to healthcare. So now I have no healthcare.
Yeah.
That's the situation we're in. People literally dying. Let me just give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about here. United Healthcare Community Plan. This is from the company whose CEO was just assassinated. Your insurance company, United Healthcare, has denied your claim as non-medically necessary for your emergency room visit. In order for United Healthcare to reconsider your claim, the enclosed authorization form needs to be signed and sent back to us as soon as possible. This signed authorization form will allow us to submit an appeal on your behalf to reconsider services rendered for payment. Listed below is an address to mail or fax the signed form. If we don't receive the attached forms and your health plan continues to deny, you may be responsible for the billed amount. Emergency room. Here's another. United Healthcare Community Plan received a request from Olympic Pharmacy and Healthcare Services on 11/29/2022 for an advanced Group 3 power wheelchair with features. The request was reviewed on December 2nd, 2022 by a medical director, Carter Sigmund, MD.
You want to know the worst part about this? You can already hear the type of person that would defend this. Well, maybe the kid doesn't need a wheelchair with features. Can you imagine being that shitty of a human being that there's a child, a fucking child, dude, that is so disabled that they need a wheelchair, and there's some jackass out there that's probably saying, well, maybe you didn't need a wheelchair with features. That we have a distinct lack of humanity, not when it comes to whether or not people have empathy for CEOs. No, we have a distinct lack of humanity when it comes to the people that are on the same fucking level as us. Why my tax dollars gotta pay for his wheelchair? It's not your tax dollars. It's actually an insurance plan that these people make billions of dollars every year. Buying this wheelchair for this kid would not affect even a little bit the types of bonuses these people get. Well, I don't know. I mean, if they say he doesn't need it, then he probably doesn't. It's a fucking kid. Give him the wheelchair, bro. Fucking give him the wheelchair. His life's already fucked up enough. You don't want to give the kid the fucking wheelchair?
D.
Jesus
Based on
Christ.
review of the information provided, the request for an advanced Group 3 power wheelchair
Later, Sleepy.
with features was denied on December 2nd, 2022. The reason for the denial is your child's doctor asked for an advanced Group 3 power wheelchair with features. These are requested to help your child's mobility. This is because your child has cerebral palsy.
Oh
This
my
is a
God.
condition that can cause muscle weakness. We reviewed your child's health plan
Later, Jeannie.
rules. If a wheelchair is not approved, its features cannot be approved. To approve this power wheelchair, your child's records must clearly show all of the following. A simpler wheelchair is not available to help you with your child's mobility, and a simpler wheelchair cannot meet your child's needs.
Your kid's got cerebral palsy. This is what I'm saying. You want to talk about a lack of empathy? Can you imagine being the parent of a child with cerebral palsy? Stop there. Just there. Pause. Stop there. Just stop with the fucking idea of being a parent with a child with cerebral palsy. You don't need to even go any further. Just think to yourself what it would be like to have to be a parent, the types of stresses you have. Being a normal parent, being a parent of children with fully functioning limbs, a fully functioning brain, a bright future, it's already fucking hard enough. We have literally kids going to school and being shot by their peers. It's already hard enough. You worry every day about whether or not, they get sick, and if they're going to have healthcare, they could get cancer, they could get kidnapped, they could get hit by a car, they could just get bullied at fucking school. You got enough to worry about just being a parent. Now throw in some fucking cerebral palsy. Just throw that on top. And then you don't want to give him a wheelchair? Can you imagine being this parent? You get this, like, you're like, fucking, finally, I'm going to get some help. My kid finally can, like, you know, get around a little bit by himself, like fucking 13% by himself. And they're like, yo, you got to make sure that there's not a cheaper wheelchair out there for your kid. Why is that my job? Hold on. Why don't you take the fucking millions of dollars that you give your CEO in bonuses, and why don't you invest in some AI to find out if there's another fucking wheelchair out there for my kid? How about that? And you wonder why a motherfucker got shot.
Kid has cerebral palsy, needs a wheelchair. United Healthcare denied a wheelchair to a kid with cerebral palsy. How about this one? December 9th, 2022. A claimant may file a supplemental claim by submitting or identifying new and relevant evidence. New evidence is evidence not previously part of the actual record before agency adjudicators. Relevant evidence means evidence that tends to prove or disprove a matter at issue. Oh my God, yes, I know. Just get to the point. We acknowledge receipt of your private medical records and lay statements intending to link your current disability to a disease, event, or injury from your military service. Your service treatment records do not contain complaints, treatment, or diagnosis for this condition. It's anxiety and or depression. So dude is in the military, presumably, gets anxiety or depression from it, but didn't report it when he was in the military, I guess, and now the insurance isn't going to pay for it because there's no paper trail to show a direct connection between his military service and depression or anxiety because he didn't report it at that moment. You've got to be kidding me with this. Your service treatment records don't contain complaints, treatment, or diagnosis for this condition. The evidence does not show an event, disease, or injury in service. We acknowledge your submission of current evidence for your claimed condition of anxiety and depression. Looking at the totality of your claim, it's noted that your service treatment records are silent for any complaints of any mental.
And that's what I'm saying. This is a person that signed their life away to defend your rights. And there's people out there going, well, that's probably true. I mean, what if he got anxiety from regular life? Does it fucking matter? It doesn't matter, man. Well, it seems like if he got it while he was in war, then they would have paid for it. Like, the person signed their life away to the military to protect your rights to say that dumb shit. And you're like, well, I mean, he didn't probably get the anxiety from the war. Oh, where do you think he got it from? Working fucking retail? That shit will give you depression. It doesn't matter. It's like fucking, even if that is where he got it from, fucking help the dude out. He literally fucking signed up to protect your life so that way you could deny people's fucking medical claims.
Health condition. However, your evaluation report and counseling were outstanding with recommendations for awards and promotions. Your service treatment records do not contain complaints, blah, blah, blah. Why did they repeat this like 3 different times? While some of the evidence submitted may not be discussed, all evidence was discussed, and only the most significant or pertinent evidence is being discussed to include, but not limited to, service treatment records and VAMC treatment records. That is insane. This dude is having his claim denied to pay for presumably therapy and medicine, maybe for depression and anxiety, maybe PTSD induced. Who knows?
And something Bernie said a long time ago that, like, to this day, I'm 100 on, is that mental health is health. Like, this idea in America that we have that it's like, well, you get health care, that doesn't include going to a therapist. Like, it should. It should. You know what causes physical ailments? People going fucking crazy because they don't have good mental health and then going to schools and harming children. That causes physical harm. So how about instead of waiting for the physical harm to happen and then denying the claim, how about instead we nip it in the bud? How about we start making, like, what a crazy idea. that we make available resources to people, everyone, to have better mental health. What a crazy idea. I would hate for every person in America to be happy and healthy mentally. That would be terrible to behold. It's fucking insane.
They certainly don't know because they won't approve it. They won't investigate it. They won't move
Yeah,
forward.
why are
with
eyes
it.
and teeth not
Denying
part
this
of
claim
fucking healthcare?
for
Exactly.
depression and anxiety. Now, that's going to make his depression and anxiety way better, isn't it? What is wrong with these people? You know that UHC, United Healthcare Company, or whatever the hell it's called? Hang on, let me just double check this before I say it. This is from dissentmagazine.org. Take it or leave it, trustworthiness-wise. The statistics include United Healthcare having the highest denial rate, 32% in 2023,
yeah.
of any U.S. insurance company. 32% denial rate. And who's responsible
I'm a
for
Medicare for all
telling
guy,
people that they
Sean.
need to raise the denial rate?
I
Our
believe
good
in
buddy Brian
single-payer,
Thompson, or whatever the fuck his name
government-funded
is.
healthcare.
I'm sorry he died. I don't want anybody dead, really. But I'm not going to sit here and cry at the obituary. I'm just not. You know whose obituary I will cry over? The kid with cerebral palsy who couldn't have a wheelchair.
Thank you.
'Cause he wouldn't let him have it.
Exactly.
Or how about this one? This is a letter from a doctor to the insurance company. Dear buttheads at the insurance company, I can't believe it's come to this. I have to take time away from my patients to inform you that you are idiots. This whole experience makes me want to vomit. But of course, I wouldn't dare throw up without the approval of my insurance company. Which brings me to my point. Apparently, you've decided that a child receiving chemotherapy has no reason to be nauseated. I didn't think I was unnecessarily writing prescriptions for antiemetics, which is anti-vomiting medicine, I believe. For blank, obviously you would know better about the side effects of chemotherapy than me, my peers, and the entire scientific community, going all the way back to Dr. Sidney Farber. I suppose my alternative to Zofran and scopolamine is to let blank know that the nausea is all in his head. However, I don't imagine you would cover any psychology consultation either. So I'll
Jesus.
just tell blank to stop throwing up. Thank you for that simple solution. You have saved your greedy, blood-sucking corporation shareholders a great deal of money,
universal
I'm
healthcare.
sure.
Or a single
of course,
payer,
that
same
would be
thing.
the bottom line.
Yeah.
Feel free to contact me if you need further information about how much you guys suck. Sincerely, blank. United Healthcare Community, UHC. Brian Thompson was running it. Brian Thompson, this guy. I'm crying over the obituary of that kid who had cancer and couldn't get the medicine he
100%.
needed to keep from vomiting. That's the obituary I'm crying over. Anyway, back to Jesse Waters.
Yeah.
We've gotten to a
fuck
point where
this
healthcare
guy.
is so inaccessible and unaffordable, people are justified in their frustration.
So the media's okay with murder?
Just framing it like that
Yep.
tells me that Jesse Waters has no idea what people are dealing with. Just
Spot on.
completely outside of reality. He's in a little bubble where he's never had to worry about paying for anything ever.
Yep.
And when I say worry about, I mean like you're buying loaves of bread because you can't afford anything else. You're just buying bread and butter and ramen noodles, and you're just eating those, eating those because you don't have the money for anything else.
That's actually a really good analogy, because if you think about it, when you get to a point, if you've ever gotten to the point where you're like upper middle class, right? So I've been as poor as you can be, right? Like I lived in a converted bus with no heating, no air conditioning, no running water. We used to, we had a 5-gallon bucket for a bathroom, and we would have to literally carry it to a trash can and dump it out when it got full. I took sponge baths with a hose in the morning before I would go to school in cold water. I ate out of trash cans. I literally broke into places to eat, to steal food. I lived under a bridge for a while. I've lived in cars down by the river. Lived in cars down by the river. I've lived in Slab City, which is a formal naval or army installation, which is all concrete slabs in the middle of the desert. I think it's Mojave. I know what it's like to be poor, right? I know what it's like to be like fucking insanely poor. And I've worked my way to a place where now I can take care of my family. And I can tell you that the feeling of when you buy stuff when you're poor and you know that's all you have, and so you have to be very smart with that money or else it all goes away, and you'd never buy things for amenities, because if you do, then your money's gone. When you become middle class, upper middle class, there's this feeling of going into a grocery store and being able to purchase anything that you want. Even if you're going to complain afterwards, even if you're going to be like, oh, it's $250 for that fucking cart, you're still capable of doing it. You don't have to think twice about it. You just throw the stuff in your cart, go to the checkout, you complain after you pay for it. But for the most part, you don't ever have to think about it. Like, medical is the same. It's like the majority of us, and I'm talking from the poverty-stricken all the way up to the upper middle class, are spending our health care like I was spending money as an ultra-impoverished child. Okay? The only person that gets to spend health care the way that the upper middle class buys groceries are the ultra-wealthy, the wealthy, people with hundreds of millions of dollars. Those people can do things with their health care where they don't think twice about it. Of course we can, the best treatment, the best medications. No, you're getting the good stuff. Like, that's a great analogy for it, is that, like, if you've ever been poor and then you've gone from being poor to having money, you know how big of a difference it is to not care about spending money. To feel like, oh, I can buy that because I want it and I'm going to buy that. That's the same thing. Imagine being able to live a long, healthy life where you don't have to worry about whether or not, if you go in to find out if something on your body is cancer, whether or not that's going to bankrupt your entire family. Like, that's what it's like. And the crazy thing is like I said, that's fucking from the impoverished all the way to upper middle class. That's insane.
Going to the pharmacy to pay for your medicine. He is never worried about that.
And now I'm a motivational speaker. Sorry.
Healthcare costs are too high.
And he's blaming, like, everybody else for being unhappy with this. Again, I'm not in favor of dying, of anyone dying, anybody being killed, none of that. I'm not in favor of it. I just would like a little bit more, like, sympathy, compassion, understanding, just like this much more from Jesse Waters.
Yeah, it just shows a clear
And,
disconnect.
on that note, the NYPD came up with a couple of pictures that they want everybody to look out for. See if we can find this assassin. All right, so we know apparently that this is the assassin right here. This is a picture of him from when he shot the gun, right? This is a picture released by the NYPD. And they said that this is the same guy. These are the same people. And what's more, you know what else they said? NYPD says this is from the same event, the same day, and he's wearing the exact same clothing in these two pictures.
But he's not.
That is what the NYPD said.
There's no pockets on that.
But if you notice here, this jacket does not have
Yeah.
pockets on the front.
That jacket doesn't have any pockets.
This backpack has black straps. This one has white. Are they ruining some poor guy's life right now?
I was there in
I appreciate,
late
though,
90s,
what
early 90s,
New Yorkers
early
are
90s.
doing right now. Of course, this happened in New York City. So New Yorkers held a contest.
Lots of people lived out there.
A shooter look-alike contest.
Lots
This
of
is
people
on
lived
New
out there
York
with those
Post.
same
Naturally,
issues.
it's going to be like far-right propaganda. Unfortunately, that's just what the New York Post is nowadays. But just listen to this article
sorry
here.
to hear that, though.
New Yorkers mockingly
that's
celebrated the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Washington Square Park.
You guys know who Josh Johnson is? You guys should watch Josh Johnson's stand-up on this. He's like, here's something that black people have never done in their life. Dressed up like the person being looked for. He's like, that's some white people only stuff. He's like, only white people can get away with dressing up like the person that the police are looking for. I was dying. Oh, I was dying.
With a truly tasteless shooter look-alike contest as the frantic manhunt for the brazen killer entered its fourth day. Well, I don't know that they don't have to be celebrating it to make a point that these pictures do not look like the same person at all. I mean, is that not clear as day? How can they
Yeah, wait,
possibly
that
make this
backpack's the
mistake?
wrong color, isn't it?
They're not even like the same colors that he's wearing.
That's what I'm saying.
And
yeah.
again, these aren't from different days. This is supposed to be the same outfit, the same everything. 8 contestants donning hooded outerwear
hold on, what?
and face masks were surrounded Friday by dozens of onlookers whose cheers amounted to votes in the nose-thumbing stunt. The winner, whose green jacket and face covering made him a dead ringer for the cold-blooded assassin, said he headed toward the park after hearing about the contest that morning. I got no looks until I got over here, and now everyone wants a picture with me, he told the Post. He's the one onlooker remarked as he was introduced as contestant number 6. I'm sorry, man. I'm having trouble having any sympathy for Brian Thompson or...
Yeah, and the media is just so disconnected. It's actually really, really sad. Because it's one thing to know the ultra wealthy are disconnected from us, right? For those of us that are logical, critical thinking human beings, we know that corporations and the ultra wealthy don't care about us, okay? We know that. It's one thing to know that our politicians are disconnected from us. That's a bit of a slap in the face, but it's something that we've accepted, right? Is that our politicians are disconnected from us. But then to know that the media has now joined the ranks of the ultra wealthy, joined the ranks of the politicians, and became their mouthpiece. The media is supposed to be the mouthpiece of me and you, not the mouthpiece of corporations, not the mouthpiece of politicians. The media is supposed to hold corporations and politicians accountable. That's what it's supposed to do. And it is so fucking sad to know that the only place that you're going to see any media holding these people accountable are, 10, 20, 30K subscriber fucking YouTubers. People that have very little voice. I mean, I have like 300 views on this video so far, this stream so far. That's who's going to stand up for people. It's like something has to change. I mean, I see even the big YouTubers becoming more willing to ride that line, more willing to not say certain things. Like during the Gilded Age, muckrakers were incredibly important. Theodore Roosevelt didn't do it all on his own. It was also a large part, in part, due to muckrakers, to people, journalists, reporting on robber barons, telling people that this is unfair, what is happening to you and me. And to see the media become just a mouthpiece, it's really fucking sad, man.
Or his family, after what he has done to materially make society worse. And that's not even all I've got for you. Check this out. The new CEO of UHC, or whatever it is, had some comments to lay down. The CEO of United Health Group, Andrew Whitty, UHG, I guess. Andrew Whitty,
by the way, this was
told
leaked.
Employees he would increase security, including perimeter protection at the company's sites following the killing of one of their colleagues, CEO of the company's health insurance branch, Brian Thompson. There you go. So I guess it's a broader company. In comments shared with The Guardian, Whitty said the company would make permanent changes that would make campuses less welcoming, but they were necessary in the country's current climate. You're telling me you're going to put more money into security guards? You're going to pay for cameras
rather than
site
fucking
instead of pay
allow
for the
people's
fucking
claims.
wheelchairs. Is that what you're telling me right now? You're telling me you want to continue
you're speaking my
to
language.
make people's lives harder and put that money that you are taking from sick children and give it to some security guard so that you can't be attacked for taking the money from sick kids? Bro, we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe or unnecessary care to be delivered in a way that makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable. He guards against. So he's saying he's providing a public service. You should be thanking him. He guards against the pressures in society that make, what does it make it unsafe? He's protecting you from unsafe medical procedures by denying your claim for a wheelchair. I've never...
And that is my point, is when people try to defend this, they're oftentimes saying, well, there's a lot of fraud in healthcare. I do not disagree with that. But it's along the same lines of somebody saying, like, that they're against capital punishment. When they say they're against capital punishment, they say, I would rather 9 people that were guilty get away than 1 person that was innocent be killed. And that is my outlook on healthcare. I would rather see 9 people get away with fraud than 1 child being denied a wheelchair. I would rather see 9 people get away with fraud than see 1 mother be denied chemotherapy or drugs to stop her nausea. I would rather see 100 frauds happen than see people that need health care be denied it. It's crazy to think that we live in a world where you can, as a fucking multi-billion-dollar profiting company, this isn't a company that's struggling. It's not like they're like, oh God, we got to batten down the hatches, guys. Really got to tighten the belt, because if we don't, we're not going to be here tomorrow. That's not we're not talking about that. We're not talking about United Healthcare as some kind of struggling insurance company. You're talking about a company that has billions of dollars in profit every year. That means that they have the cushion to absorb a little fraud to make sure that other people are getting the health care that they need. I have zero sympathy for the health care.
Never been more proud of what this company and our colleagues do on behalf of the people in this country. I urge you to tune out the negative messaging you hear on social media, Whitty said. Now, I have a question for you. Does he really believe that he's benefiting society right now? Is this real? Or is he just pretending? Is this him just trying to
is he out of touch, or
with
is he
the fact
coping?
that he is a monster and everybody in the country knows it? Or is he really delusional in there?
And it's a possibility.
Whitty
He could just
made
be
the
delusional.
comments in the face of online vitriol in response to the killing of Thompson, a 50-year-old CEO of United Healthcare who's survived by 2 sons and his wife, Paulette. Thompson was killed early Wednesday morning in Midtown Manhattan, just outside the site of the company's annual investor meeting, by an unknown assailant who shot the executive at least twice and then fled on an e-bike. Police are still searching for the suspect, released photos and information about items found at the scene, so on and so forth. The shell casings had words scrawled on them: deny, depose, defend. The motive for the killing is unknown. Well, I mean, I think that kind of spells it out pretty clearly. Deny, depose, defend. I believe that's the title of a book.
But so this is something that you've seen recently, now that he's been arrested. And this is something I want to make everybody aware of. Is here you go. Once again, the media is playing a game. And what the media is doing now is they're going, Luigi Mangione was the product of a wealthy family. Luigi Mangione's grandmother left them millions as long as they didn't commit felonies. What the media is trying to do by saying those things is the media is trying to get you upset with him for coming from a wealthy family. The media wants to go, hold on, you don't like wealthy people? Well, it turns out Luigi was one of them. But what they don't talk about is how he was denied care. What they don't want to talk about is the spinal condition that he has often goes undiagnosed in young people because young people can't get x-rays because their insurance companies don't want to pay for them. So doctors generally don't even ask for them. So doctors generally tell young people that have back pain, they're too young to have back pain. Oh, just go and be fine. Meanwhile, your fucking spine is out of place. Meanwhile, your fucking bones are grinding down on the nerves in your back. All because the doctor doesn't want to ask for x-rays because he knows the insurance company will fight the x-rays because they believe you're too young to have back pain. What they don't want to talk about is the fact that he lived in a home with his mother who experienced pain so badly that she woke up in the middle of the night screaming so often that he got used to it and would just roll over and go back to sleep instead of going and checking on her. What they want you to be distracted by is the fact that you came from a wealthy family. What they don't want you to talk about, or don't want you to talk about, is that he had a legitimate issue with healthcare that was ruining his life like it has ruined many of yours. That's what needs to be focused on.
About health insurance companies and how they keep from paying out. They deny claims, they drag things out and try to make you appeal over and over and over again so that you don't want to even bother going to a hospital when you absolutely need to. It's a known
I saw you went
legal
off the grid a while
strategy
ago too,
that they're using
DJ.
that's like discussed in legal circles a lot. And the end result is lots and lots of death. In 2008, Obama was talking about creating Obamacare. And maybe it was 2012. I don't know when he did it. Anyway, he's talking about creating Obamacare, which we have now, which sucks. I mean, it's better than what we did have.
Yeah, this is something that the right tries to talk about. They're like, you asked for it and you got it. You got Obamacare. Obamacare is not what we asked for. Obamacare was the bare basic minimum that Democrats could get pushed through. People didn't want Obamacare. People want universal health care. They want to pay in taxes for their health care, and they want to receive health care that is funded by the government, where there is not a bunch of competing insurance agencies, competing pharmacies, competing doctors. No, they want to have the ability to every single person have access, equal access to health care. And that is not what Obamacare provides. Mind you, it's not bad. It's better than it was. But for all the right-wing people out there that are like, well, you got what you wanted. You got Obamacare. That's not what people wanted. People want universal health care. And the best we could fucking wring out of these people, the most we could wring out of these people was Obamacare. That was the best we could get. And so we took it. But this is not what we wanted.
Which was nothing. But it was, Obamacare, it was a plan written by the Heritage Foundation. The same people that wrote Project 2025. Obamacare was. So not top tier. It was a half measure that Obama put in to try to meet Republicans halfway. And we saw how that went, right? When Obama was pushing for Obamacare, it was either John McCain or Romney. I don't remember which one was talking about it. But they said they're going to... No, it was Paul Ryan, I think. He was the Speaker of the House. He said there are going to be death panels. If Obama is instituted, there are going to be death panels where people have to sit there and decide who gets to die because they don't get care. That is literally...
Because once again, they lie to you and tell you that the countries that have universal health care have these incredibly long lines and you'll never get seen and you'll have cancer and it'll be 6 months, 8 months before you're seen. But every single person that I've talked to that deals with universal health care says that people that need coverage or need to be seen get seen in an appropriate manner, and people that have things that can be pushed off to a later date are the ones that tend to have to wait longer. In our society, our healthcare system is so broken that we don't even have that. It's like, well, I have cancer. I probably would like to be sitting there like, we'll see what your insurance company says about it. I would much rather live in a country where if my child got cancer, they would be jumped ahead in line to the person that, had a spinal condition or something like that. Sure, you need the help, you'll get the help. But yes, this person with cancer gets to go first. That's not how our current system works. Our current system doesn't look at the needs of the patient to determine who goes first. It looks at how fat your wallet is, how thick those dollar bills are, okay? And then that determines where you get to be in line. I would much prefer a healthcare system that says a kid with cancer gets to go before me in my knee surgery than one that says the fucking rich guy that needs a knee surgery gets to go before you and your kid that has cancer. Because that's currently what we have.
Literally happening now. It has been happening the entire time. In a single-payer system, which again is a half measure to what it should be, in a single-payer system, he says in a single-payer system, there would be death panels. There are death panels now. We got to do something about this, man. We've got to lobby the government. We've got to write our congressmen, call people, whatever it takes, because this is nuts. Absolutely nuts what we're dealing with right now.
Absolutely.
People literally dying outside the emergency room because they're not paying for anything. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Dude, to give you guys my own story, one of the things that happened to me when I was a kid, so I've had my head busted open about 3 or 4 times. A kid hit me in the head with a golf putter. Right. Yeah, I think it's this side. It might be this side. I have 2 scars on one side and 1 scar on the other. I can't see right now. I can never remember which side. But I got hit in the head with a golf putter. And I was bleeding pretty bad because head wounds bleed. So my mom took me to the local hospital in a pretty big city. About 450,000 people in the city. So she took me to the local hospital. And it was packed. Like it's like a movie, right? Like it's like a TV show, like one of these ER TV shows. There's like people being wheeled in on, gurneys, like it's a pretty bad city. So like gunshot wounds, you've got, crying babies. It's like the whole fucking place is packed with people. It's the middle of the day. And I got like a rag on my head from bleeding, but I'm not bad. Like I'm just holding the rag to my head. And my mom checks us in. The hospital would have this paper thing that they would turn that said how many hours you could expect to wait to receive care. When I sat down, the piece of paper said something like 13 hours. You could expect to wait 13 hours for care. Now, mind you, like I said, I am bleeding from the head, but for the most part, it's pretty stopped up. I'm not too concerned. My mom's not too concerned. I sit down, and there's this grown man next to me. He's dirty. He's in construction clothes. And he's crying. Like, literally, like, tears are fucking flowing down his face while he holds his eyes. And I was like, man, what's wrong with that guy? I think I forgot how old I was. It was probably like, I think I was like 11, 10 or 11. I was getting hit in the head with golf putters when I was 10 or 11. This is why I'm fucking dumb, okay? I was like, man, what's wrong with this guy? And he tells me, he says, I have fiberglass shavings in my eyes. He had been working and he was under a person that was shaving fiberglass, and he looked up and he had fiberglass in his eyes. And fucking like bleeding from his eyeballs. And he sat there for hours. We sat there for hours. That's inhumane. Our healthcare is inhumane. It doesn't care about you. Our hospitals, the people that actually work there, those people are overworked. Those nurses are working 14, 16 hours a day because the healthcare system doesn't give a shit about them either. It's like, it's inefficient. It's crazy because we have to have fucking this multitude of administrators that clog up the system because they're all concerned about fraud. And, everything has to go through 35 different administrative assistants before you can finally be told that you can have healthcare, because it has to go through all these fucking hoops before somebody can be like, yeah, this person gets to get seen. Like, it's like, it shouldn't be this way, and it doesn't need to be this way. And one of the reasons that it is this way is because corporations and politicians have convinced Republicans, conservatives, libertarians, MAGA, that you're going to pay a bunch of money out of your pocket in taxes to take care of lazy welfare queens. That's what they've convinced you of. The reality is that you're instead paying all that money out of pocket to a private corporation to not receive health care. And nor does anybody else. It's crazy. Dude, you can't go around fiberglass. You get itchy thinking about it? Yeah. Yeah. Fiberglass in your eyeballs was not good. Apparently. It's the only time I've ever seen it. At that point, I did realize never look up if somebody's above you. Shaving fiberglass, apparently. What's going on, AJ? Yeah, who knows what's going to happen with the ACA now. Like, these guys have convinced a bunch of fucking really simple fucking people that to vote against their own interests. Vote against your own interests so that way ultra-wealthy corporations can get more wealthy, so that way shareholders can take home billions of dollars. They've convinced you that, like, you get to be a shareholder, bro. You're in America. That means that at the end of the day, you have just as much of a chance to become wealthy as anybody else. Bullshit. 65% of all billionaires inherited their wealth. Over half of the people that are ultra-wealthy inherited it. And the other half had connections or status or just got insanely fucking lucky. If you think you're going to own enough stock in United Healthcare as a lower middle class person to one day become wealthy, you're a moron. That's not how it works. It's rigged. Everybody thinks they're one fantastic idea, one self-help book, one motivational speaker away from being rich and successful. But the reality is that you are literally 2 bad decisions from being poverty-stricken and needing social safety nets that they're about to rip right the fuck out from under you. Like, that's where we're at. It should be a non-profit situation. Exactly, Fatty. What's up, Fatty? What's going on? Oh, man. Yeah, I'm a fan of universal healthcare. That's what I'm going for. All right. Well, it's pretty much the show tonight. We're doing a little bit like shorter shows because I am a lot tired because my store is epic right now. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I have nothing to complain about. My store is doing really well. I am doing successfully at that. I feel really good about getting on here and talking to you guys. And I feel like we're accomplishing something, even if it's not anything super duper important. It feels like we're doing something, and that makes me feel good. I can't complain, but I am tired. I am working really hard at my job right now, and I'm also working really hard on this channel. So I'm doing everything I can, and I hope that I'm holding up my end of the bargain when I get on here. And sometimes it's going to be super funny, and sometimes it's going to be me ranting about healthcare, because I do feel like this is important. I do feel like our media has created this vacuum where there's no more facts, there's no more logic, there's no more critical thinking. They're just mouthpieces for corporations, and I feel like it's good for me to get on here and make jokes and keep people happy and create a positive experience for people. But I also think that it's also important for me to get up here and say some serious shit that does matter. I do 100% believe that we are entering an age of big tech oligarchy. I do believe that they will in no way influence our healthcare system in a positive manner. What I would say is that they're going to push AI to a point where AI starts figuring out all these cures for diseases that you have, that your kids have, that your loved ones have, that your friends have, and then they're going to charge you out the ass for you to have any type of chance of obtaining them. Indentured servants a long time ago would come to America for the opportunity to succeed and they would get here and they would be enslaved for the rest of their lives. I do believe that big tech oligarchs and AI are going to find cures to diseases and then use them to create a new age of indentured servants that are beholden to big tech and these oligarchs and AI, and you're just going to spend the rest of your life working off the cure to cancer for your kid. Like that's how I feel. Like I know that sounds really like depressing and stuff, but I'm not depressed. I'm going to do something about it. I know it may make you anxious, but I don't feel anxious. I feel angry. I know it might make you feel sad, but I'm not sad. I'm motivated. And I think that's life. Is you got to do something about it. You can't just sit on your hands and say everything's bad. You got to do something about it. Well, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And check out that video on the screen now.